Hello my friends, today I'm going to show you how to do translating of shapes. So when we're looking at the idea of translating, it's really a fancy way of saying moving or sliding a shape to a new location. And so what we're going to be doing is following instructions essentially to move a shape from one position to another. So let's start with a simple dot. So here's our dot. And we can be asked to translate it. So if we were given instructions, say translate, which is a fancy way of saying slide or move, let's say 4 right, 3 down. So let me switch to a different color here. So here's our shape, or our dot. We're going to move it 4 right. And what that means is we're moving 4 units, and because it's graph paper, and because our dot's right here where 2 lines meet, we're just going to move it 4 space or intersections to the right. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to go 3 down. 1, 2, 3 down, and here it is to our new spot. So we've translated our dot from this space down to this space by going 4 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 3 down, 1, 2, 3. So moving a what we call one-to-one ratio, where we just move one spot that's got a very clear location down to another one, is the first step. But it gets a little bit more complicated than that. So let's slide this page up and let's move on to a 2D shape. So here I'm going to draw a nice big rectangle so that you can see it. So there's my rectangle. Sorry, it's a little messy, but that's okay. I'm going to color it in orange so that it's nice and clear and we can tell the difference from where we started to where we went. Okay, and let's say we were given the instruction to translate this. Let's say 8 left, and let's say 5 down. This gets a little bit more tricky. So one strategy that we can do is we can grab a piece of paper, which I'm doing here off camera. You can kind of see it in my little bubble. And we can try and make a rectangle that's about the same size. That's a little big. Let's cut her down a little bit more. Okay, so there's almost my rectangle, still a little big. And what we could do, I won't go through making you guys watch me cut this down to size, but essentially what we can do is this now gives me something that's movable, and I can go 8 left, and 5 down, and just trace wherever it needs to end up. Sorry, I should have colored that so you guys, girls, can see it. But for me, I personally find what's a more accurate way of doing it is translating a corner in my shape. So I'm going to show you like what I showed you in class, which is I'm going to translate this bottom left corner of my rectangle. So I'm going to move it 8 spots to the left again. So here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 5 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so there's where my new spot landed. I've gone 8 left, 5 down, and now I can recreate that rectangle knowing that it's 2 tall and 4 wide. Or I can also translate the rest of the corners. So I could repeat the process with this one. Go 8 left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't think I counted right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I missed one. And then 5 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down right here. So there's the bottom of my rectangle, and I could build from there, or I could keep on translating corners. So let's translate this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a new corner. There's more of my rectangles taking shape. And then, let me find one more new color. What do I got? And there we go, green. There's my green corner. And I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, lost my spot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can see it's get pretty dotty and a little bit crazy, but as long as you make your big dots big, or your final dots big at the end, you can play the connect the dot game. So there has been my translation. I'll color this yellow so it's really easy for you guys to see in the video. And I've moved this shape from here down to here. There's my translation arrow. Okay, so let's show you with one more shape. Let's see if I got enough space to slide it. I do. So let's translate our last shape. Let's go 7 right, and let's go 4 up. And just to switch things up, let's go for another kind of different shape. Let's go for a triangle. And I'll really highlight the need to translate each individual space. So there's my triangle. And now I'm going to start translating it. But first I'll color it in orange so it's really easy for you boys and girls to see. And you can see where my original was instead of, and then where my new one is. So I'm going to start with this corner. And I'm going to go 7 right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's this corner is now here. Now I'm going to do this corner. 7 right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's the bottom of my triangle. Okay, and then I'm going to translate this last space, this last dot, here it is. 7 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now there's the 3 corners of my triangle, and if I connect the dots, you can see that that final triangle looks the exact same as my original one, right? Because when we're translating it, we're not turning it, we're not growing it, we're not shrinking it, we're not flipping it, we're just sliding it from one to another. So if I had that triangle, I'd be able to slide it from that one up to this one. Okay, and the last thing that you could be asked to do in a translation activity is asked to describe a translation that was already done for you. So what you could get is something like this. So it would be, this is a translation, and they're going to ask you, oops, you guys can't see that. There we go. They're going to ask you to describe. Okay, so if we had, let's say, a square here and a square here, and they've got a nice little arrow that goes from here to here, they're telling us with that little arrow that this was our original shape up here in the orange, and it slid down over here to the yellow one. And so now we've got to kind of go and say, okay, instead of performing those instructions like we saw here, we've got to come up with these instructions. So what we need to do is, again, pick a corner. We know that we're going to, if we go back here, we've got our left over here, our right over here. So we know, oh, you can't see my right, there it is. We know we're going to the right because if we're going from here to here, we've gone in this direction. So now we've got to figure out how many spaces to the right. So I'm going to count from this corner to this corner because we want to make sure we're going from the same corner on the shape. So bottom right to bottom right. And I've got to count how many spaces until it gets lined up right here. So let me pick a different color. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We went 9 units right, or 9 right if you want to. Okay, and now we've got to go down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So then we went 7 units down. To check our instructions, we can pick a different corner. So let's pick this one just to be different. We're going to try and see if our instructions will take us from this corner down to this one. So I'm going to go 9 right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then 7 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Fantastic. I started here and I ended here, which means that these instructions are correct. So hopefully this helps you understand translations a little bit better and also helps you with your homework this week.